Um, This Machine Stops by E.M. Forster. This is my second Forster book. I started out probably due to how popular his other book was, A Room with a View, and I like that one. I thought that was a lot more rooted in reality, and it was a little bit more Henry James-esque in that sense. Like there was a lot of other, I don't want to say naturalist. I think naturalism was more of a Emile Zola, but I might be mixing them up with realism. But there was definitely a kind of way more rooted in reality. Whereas This Machine Stops is a very curiously, extremely prescient tale. It's a short story. I think I mentioned that, and it came out in 1909 in a kind of an Oxford periodical thing, and this is one of E.M. Forster's earliest works, I believe. And he talks about this. It's considered widely considered to be science fiction. So it's talking about a kind of imagined scenario, an imagined kind of history of like what in the future world of like a very what if kind of speculative history about a future world where everybody's living in a kind of subterranean underground like Earth area of the Earth, and they're all of them are, every one of their needs are met by this machine, and the narrator of this is a very kind of fly on the wall. It's very brilliantly narrated too. The storytelling is just great. But yeah, it's this very this very ever present, all knowing, godlike machine that everybody seems to be in awe of, and it turns out that this machine is kind of the ruling like over every aspect of their lives, and they're very much reliant on them, and then they can't live without the machine because everything, not only are their physical needs met, but their kind of even cheap entertainment and spiritual needs are met by this machine. So it's like it's this, there's a kind of a religious kind of thing going on, and there's also a this kind of cult-like thing that they call the mechanic, I think, or the mechanism. So the mechanism is a kind of, there's more of a rabid kind of thing where people are actually moving kind of, like they're actually a lot more, whereas the machine, people are kind of in a silent, like almost apathy. But and people have also like talked about how the movie WALL-E kind of, although in a kind of more in a kid's tone, more youth appropriate, but that had a similar kind of instance of these, everybody's in the future, everybody's like all these like very kind of corpulent people, like stuck in these cubes, and they're like there's entertainment like modules all around them, and they're being like every single one of their needs are met too. Like they can work out if they want to, and they can do pretty much everything. And that's kind of what I got this sense of, like that is a more like jubilant version of what this machine is. I think E.M. Forster is getting at with that. So this tells the two characters that that are threaded together are a woman named Vashti and her son, Kuno. And her son is, I believe, he's grown up. And he lives on a different side of the world, and he's actually kind of a rebel. He's like going around, and he's like kind of he's questioning a lot of what this machine is, what it's doing, and like it's like do they really need it to supply their every single needs? And he's like going around. He's a very free spirited, like very critical person by nature, and Vashti is more or less completely satisfied with her life. She sees the machine as like, there's nothing to be as a harmless kind of I guess just tool to kind of just to help them. It's like, and so they both but because of this initial kind of foray, her son Kudo ends up kind of creating a almost a forest fire effect, or like a kind of the name of that phenomenon is escaping me, but like a kind of not a foot in the door, but it's like kind of like a wildfire kind of effect of him because of his own disenfranchisement. Everybody else is kind of like starting to realize that the machine is kind of not as fallible as they'd like to think. I think so. they start to think about like what it would be like to go beyond this underworld area, this cavernous area underworld, and to actually live in amongst nature, and because he gets more and more people to do that. But there's also an instance with the respirators too. There's these respirator things that people are required to wear when they go beyond Earth's surface. So there's like a big kind of almost Orwellian kind of thing with that too, with like how like how things are portrayed in the kind of and there's also like this, and there's also very brilliant kind of look into what might happen in the future with these video calling systems that they have, that the video calling and like almost FaceTime like technology that's like very much that I don't think I've heard anybody else. I think this is probably, if you look up probably like in earliest references to this, you probably to those kinds of technologies, you'll probably only find EM Forsters in this machine stops, because that's really really insane that I just can't, I'm at a loss for words, like it's just so crazy. But anyway, so the religious fervor starts to die down around the mechanism, and people start to become less stuck in their way, like they're stuck in their ways, and they start to truly think critically. And that's a big thing. I think Ian Forster's overall theme, if you're going to take this away, is beyond just the sheer details of it, but although that's a very beautiful way it's told as well, is humanity is becoming, even as early as 1909, and probably even before that too, is becoming too. This is like post-industrial revolution, like so you had a lot going on culturally and like civilization-wise, but so I'd say Forster's probably biggest thing is like a wariness of, and a cautionary kind of attitude toward the prevalence of technology and becoming too reliant on it. And I want to say that's another instance of that too with the video calls. I think was Infinite Jest had people in a different can't remember, different essays and articles were pointing out online how David Foster Wallace was talking about how a very kind of it was kind of tongue-in-cheek the way he described it. I think was people also like, I think, compared Johnny Gentle to a kind of Trump kind of figure, and although probably nobody parodies Trump better than himself, I guess. But there's I think I just thought it was an interesting kind of thing that even like way before Infinite Jest came out, 1996. So that's a good 85 something years before that. So almost 90 years before that came out. Forster kind of. But anyway, so they all start to, like I said, question the need of the machine, and they start to like become less and less subservient to it, and because there's like the machine is almost like a deified kind of thing. There's this thing called like the mending apparatus that starts like automatically kind of employs these like mechanical kind of fix ups, I guess, or some kind of repairs, and that starts to, because of that starts to fail, the machine also starts to kind of fall into disrepair as well. So and with the help of Kuno, obviously he's kind of one of the driving forces of a catalyst of one of the few people that actually stand up against that, and he's like one of the kind of a necessary kind of slight chaos, I guess, to kind of get that almost not anarchic chaos, but because it seems like with the reliance on machine is more so almost like a lethargic kind of thing more than anything. But so they ends up going to. He tells her the namesake of the thing. He tells his mother, because he's making a lot of unwanted kind of cryptic announcements and stuff. He starts like telling her that this machine stops, or the machine stops, and but Vashti, his mother, starts kind of like not taking it seriously, and then but eventually this actually does start to happen and starts to fall apart, and uh, all of this civilization in the world and everything with it is kind of like starts to kind of go into a state of regress as well. Everything's going into remission, and everybody has to kind of learn to become newfound independent people, automatons again. So without using the machines, and like they make a, it ends with them all agreeing more or less to kind of make sure that they don't make that same mistake twice. So yeah, they're able to kind of rebuild the human race, and yeah, they all live on happily ever after. I know that's a kind of corny ending kind of summary that my kind of rambling summary of it, but I did want to kind of at least note that it does end on a positive note. It's not just like a kind of as a pessimistic kind of outlook as maybe Crash by J.G. Ballard, where everybody's like, or, you know, like there's so much death and there's like a kind of a sexual fixation on death and the death drive, and or, you know, something where everybody seems to be just, I don't know, I think that's kind of the thing with science fiction, especially with like the 70s, is like there's a lot of, not like a cult of death, but it's like a kind of things being wiped out, or themes of like civilization being entirely erased, or I think. But anyway, that is all I have for This Machine Stops by E.M. Forster, and I'm definitely looking more into his stuff, and especially his short stories like this. And if you have any recommendations, I'm open to it. And yeah, thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one.